A Nigerian man that lived in London is facing life in prison. When you find out why this brother is facing life in prison, you'll be shocked. This is a man that a lot of people that knew this guy, they could not believe when they found out why this brother is facing life in prison. This story centered around a Nigerian who is in his 30s. He goes by the name Matthew Chukwuemeka Adebiyi. He holds Nigerian and British passport. He is settled in the UK, and this is somebody that a lot of people in the community, they look up to this guy. Some people want their children to be mentored by him. Why? He is seen as a role model. Successful. Some people thought the guy was into music. Some thought the guy was a football coach and agent because the guy was doing very well. But what they didn't know was that behind the scene, something was happening which a lot of people were not aware of. Matthew was the leader of a ruthless and notorious gang. They operate like a cult. One fateful day, those people that live in London, around Birmingham, you will remember something that happened a few years ago where a young man, broad daylight, this man, his name is Joshua Badu. He was murdered in London. This guy's murder shocked a lot of people because it happened broad daylight. When a group of 3 men, they attacked this guy who was known as SJ. They attacked him in Birmingham area, around Peckham area, and with no clear motive. People did not really understand what was happening. Victim later they died 11 days later. The police were shocked. What they knew was that the group, the guys that killed him, they came with a Peugeot car. And CCTV later captured the moment before the attack, and the men surrounded him and assaulted him. And the victim, the guys, they escaped around the Lacey area. They went, and police swung into action because that caused a lot of fear in the minds of the community. And the police wanted to reassure the community in order for them to win their trust and confidence. They swung into action straight away. The saddest part of this story is that these guys were later filmed celebrating that, yes, we just killed somebody now. We just killed somebody. These guys were celebrating taking the life of another human being. That was when the police went after them. 2 of them were later jailed. When the 2 of them that were jailed, they did not confess. They did not confess that there was another person. But the police can see from the CCTV that it was 3 people that arrived at the scene. Where is this man? Where is this 3rd man? The guys did not say. Nobody came out with any evidence. Matthew, eventually, he left the UK. He went to Nigeria and he started a new life in Nigeria. Nobody knew that this was a fugitive who was hiding in Nigeria. One day, he had a girlfriend and he was in love. And when he was in love with his girlfriend, the girl was curious to know how Matthew left the UK and ended up in Nigeria. We don't know what the girl gave him, but maybe the girl must have given him something that made his head went crazy. The brother forgot where he was coming from, and he said, babe, you know what? I told you guys, I've been wanted man in the UK. Wanted man in the UK? I said, yes, I've been wanted man in the UK. Yeah, I've been wanted man. Why? He opened up, told the girl why he ended up in Nigeria. The girl kept quiet because she was in love and she didn't want to spoil the happiness. When love is in the air, later there are reports that Matthew, he stopped dating the girl. He had another girlfriend. And he goes, I know where the dead bodies are buried. And I'm going to make sure that since you've taken the happiness away, nobody's going to have this happiness. The girl went, reported Matthew to the authority straight away. That is where Matthew's battle started. The justice minister in Nigeria submitted a case in February last year saying that Matthew should face extradition back to the UK. But there was a problem. The UK authority wanted him to return back to the UK straight away. His defense team immediately mounted a defense against the extradition. They claimed that extradition is not domesticated, that Nigeria and the United Kingdom do not formally have any extradition warranty, that it would be illegal to send him to Nigeria, to the UK. The court was considering that. They brought another excuse. Oh, he's not well. He's not well. He needs treatment in Nigeria. The judge said, so now Nigeria's healthcare is now better than the UK, right? So this man cannot get healthcare in the UK, but can get to Nigeria. Okay. The judge was considering all these things. They argued, oh, human right, fundamental human right. If you send him to the UK, you violate his human right. The judge said, okay. What about the right of the person that he killed, he alleged kill? The judge said, okay, my role is not to decide on whether the man is guilty of what he has been accused of or not. My role is to decide whether this man should be extradited back to the UK. The judge considered the thing, and the judge said, look, whilst there is no formal extradition treaty between the UK and Nigeria, however, extradition act requirement is satisfied because Nigeria and the United Kingdom is what it's regarded as the part of the Commonwealth of Nations. You do not need a formal extradition between Nigeria and the UK for you to send him back. The Commonwealth scheme is legally applicable in this case because both countries are part of the Commonwealth. The excuse that you gave about his health, it doesn't hold water. This guy, it doesn't hold. He needs to go. Nigeria cannot shelter fugitive. Presumption of innocence is maintained. However, the UK court will have to decide if Mr. Adebiyi is guilty or not. However, the case is now dismissed. The guy needs to go back to the UK and dance to the music that he played in Bermondsey in South London. So the guy is now under the custody of the Nigerian authority, awaiting to be sent back to the UK to come and play the music and chill out with his two friends who are already spending life in jail. Now, this reinforces stereotype about Nigeria. One person's action tarnished the reputation of a whole community. People now started looking at Nigeria because of actions like this. Now, this case, it raises concern about gun control, gang culture, violence within our society, issues that has to be addressed. As Mr. Adebiyi is on his way to the UK, this is how Nigerian newspaper reported it. Court orders extradition of Nigerian over murder drug charge. The question I'm asking is that, do you have any sympathy for Matthew Adebiyi? Don't forget, he's been accused of taking the life of another human being. Let me know what your views are in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I remain your one and only Frank. Peace.